Hey y'all, get ready with me while I tell you how my friend group of 5 went to 4 in one night. I had this wonderful friend group of 5 girls, of course, and it was just a regular hangout night not too long ago, actually, during spring break, and I had all my girls over. Until, of course there's always an until, the one girl in our group, let's call her Lily, we were as a group collectively deciding which Disney character reminded us of each. I know girls get their feelings hurt easily, and no one was like mean or anything. Like, I was Rapunzel, someone else was Belle. Like, it wasn't mean. And we got to Lily. I don't even remember what they called her, but she ended up getting her feelings hurt and started like shouting and making it a bigger deal. We were doing this discussion in the kitchen, and so I looked around and there was a butter knife on the table, and I said, why don't we do a talking butter knife? So basically, if you were holding the butter knife, you could talk and nobody else could, because everyone was shouting at this point. And being 100% honest, this actually worked, except for Lily. She did not want to do the talking butter. We ended up stopping the game because it got too much because of Lily, and we just went on our way. Well, anywho, a few hours had gone by, like maybe 2, and we had not seen Lily. So because I was hosting the little sleepover, I decided to go, find her and check on her, because again, she is our friend. So I looked for like 30 minutes, couldn't find her. I'm calling her name, and I'm looking in the bathrooms, and I go in my little sister's bathroom. It's completely dark, and she was sitting in front of the door in the dark of my sister's bathroom. And like, she heard me call her name and didn't respond. I practically pushed my way through this door to sit down and talk to her, and she's basically like crying, and I'm like scrolling on Shein, and I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing continuously, right? And then I just leave, because if you're not gonna tell me what's wrong, there's nothing I can do for you. Okay, so I ended up going back downstairs, and then I heard her talking super loudly right close to my mom's room. At this point, it's like 3 a.m. She has to get up for work in about 2 hours, and she's sitting there talking super loudly on the phone, and I snapped. So I go to the room where she's at, right by my mom's room, and I'm like, hey, listen, you can be upset, that's totally okay, but you cannot sit here, be loud on the phone when my mom is trying to sleep after so much she does for us. She ends up refusing to move and gets louder, and I'm being calm, patient, no cussing, nothing. I wasn't being mean. I was like, listen, you really need to move. You can go to the living room, you can go to my room, you can go outside, but you need to move. And when I said she could go outside, she goes, so you're kicking me out? No. Well, at this point, she's on the phone with her mom or grandma, and she's screaming, cussing, yelling, begging to come get her to pick her up because we're ganging up on her, when I was literally just, it's giving pathological liar. Like, I tried to be nice, but you're not getting your ass up and moving, and you're going to wake my mom up, and she's gonna get mad at me. And so then I got mad, and I was like, get your ass up and go. Now, now, go. I was so mad. And she finally gets up, goes outside, sits outside, crying, cussing at her mom, like, come pick me up. And she's like, it's 3 a.m., I'm not picking you up. She's like, I don't give a shit, come pick me up. You know what I mean, right? Ends up convincing grandma, mom, I don't know, to come get her. And so we go upstairs. I was like, you're not coming back in, like, with this state of frantic manic. You're not. And I left the door open. She's sitting right there by the door, and I'm like, we'll go get your bag, it's already packed, because it was the last night they were spending the night. Bring it down, we bring it, go, right? And then she's like, calls her mom, and her mom's like, walk to the end of the driveway and we'll get you. And I was like, oh, thank the Lord. This story time doesn't even grasp how loud, rude, disrespectful, like, she was to everybody. Like, there was so much more. You had to live it. And those 4 girls, I'm sure they'll comment, like. So she starts walking to the end of the driveway, and I was like, I wouldn't want to walk to the end of the driveway at 3 a.m. in the dark by myself. My driveway is super long. And so I was like, we'll walk with you. And she was like, no, go yourself. I help you. Super rude, and we were all calm and chill. No one was cussing, no one was nothing. So we're like, we're just gonna walk behind her. So she's walking, and she's like 20 feet above us. So she ends up sitting on the road of the highway by my house, even though, like, she didn't want to be by us. Like, that didn't make sense. So her sister goes and checks on her, and Lily swings on her, and her sister just backs up and walks away. I was like, you know what, fine, you can stay there. So her mom pulls up, right? She gets out of the car and she's trying to pull up my driveway, and I'm like, you're not about to pull up my driveway and be loud and wake my mama up. So like, she didn't end up pulling up ever fully up on my driveway. Like, I stood my ground. And she's like all upset, and she's talking about somehow she was going to protect her babies or whatever. And like, you know, of course, like, I get that motherly instinct, but she wasn't getting the full story. She was just getting Lily's story. Wait, so her mom ends up trying to get her sister to come home as well after Lily just gave us death threats, and of course she was like, no, I'm not going, I didn't do anything. Everyone's crying at this point. They're shouting, screaming, cops being threatened to be called. So overdramatic. I mean, it was all girls, so like, anyway, Lily's uncle was there too, and so he ends up calming everyone down, which is the only time a situation a man has ever helped. I'm just kidding. I can't say that. Which is a situation a man has ever calmed down. And so basically, he calms it down and gets her to leave. And she leaves, and she ends up blocking me. She blocked me. Lily blocked me on everything. One of the beautiful girls from the 4-friend group now. Anyway, bye, beautiful people.
My school was so strict. I remember the time the principal gave my whole entire class in school suspension. Do y'all know what it takes for a whole class to get in school suspension? Or even just to get it alone is not good at all. But get ready with me for school story time and how my full entire class got in school suspension. Before we start the video, if this gets on your For You page, please comment For You page, because I try to notice and follow some people back who comment For You page. Please don't forget to comment For You page. Look at that shade match. Okay, so we had just came back from lunch and we were about to take our quiz or whatever. And this one girl who was not supposed to be in our class walks in, and she was arguing with this one girl. Like, they were talking at first because I guess she lost her water bottle and she blamed it on her. I don't know. But it kind of escalated a little bit, and the one girl went outside and the other girl followed. I guess the one girl was trying to be mature about the situation, but the other girl had walked out. So, and then they started getting louder. So then that's when like 3 students ran outside, and that's when the whole class was just like, oh, we're about to take this very important test. And our teacher is on maternity leave, so we have this substitute. At the time, I didn't like him, but then I started to like him. So we were the first class who runs out, and then the whole grade is in the hallway. Obviously, nothing happens because my science teacher gets one of the girls, and yeah, I mean, like, nothing happens. But here's the problem. We try and go back into the classroom, and we notice that the door is locked. This dude would not let us in the class. We're literally banging on the door because half of the class is outside. After standing out there for a while, the ESL teacher comes and gets us. We're in the dean's office. He would not let us back in the class. But literally, the whole grade was out there, so why are we the only ones being punished? Doesn't make sense. Being so for real, we were sitting in that room for like 2 hours straight because like we had absolutely nowhere to go. He comes back and he says that we're all going to get in school suspension, but on a different day. So, for example, 10 kids would go per a day until we were all done. But the story does not end. So let me know if y'all want a part 2. If you stayed all the way to the end, comment down below a pink heart in the comments. Bye, guys, and have a great day. 500,000 followers is crazy.
Why is my best friend actually in love with my boyfriend? My boyfriend plays soccer, but he's on 2 different club teams, so I don't make it to all his games. But my best friend will text me every time before his game. I don't know how she finds out he has a game, because he said he didn't tell her. Like, there's no one else on the team that she knows. And also, he's the only person that's on both the teams. Like, no one else is on both of these club teams. So there would be no one else that she would be asking or going there for. So every time that I say I'm not going to the game, she's there, and he tells me. But, like, she's never been to a game that I'm at. And the weird part is, like, his games, even the home ones, are, like, at least 20 minutes away. And the away ones are even farther. And she goes to the far-ass away ones that I can't make it to. Now, I've known about this for a while since it started, because he's been telling me. But I haven't said anything or done anything about it, because I was like, whatever. Maybe there's another reason she's there. I don't know. She's just bored, needs something to do. But he said that, like, every game, she'll come over and be like, good job, congrats, blah, blah, blah. Or, I'm sorry if they lost, whatever. Last week, at his game, he said that she, like, was coming over to him and, like, starting conversation. And she was talking to him, it was super duper flirty, and he just kept saying, like, I have to go. And he got in his car and called me and told me about it right away. So now I'm getting ready to go to his game, and I told her that I'm not going. If she's there, then I'm gonna confront her and be like, what the fuck? which, by the way, I know she'll freaking be there because she's at every single one. And, like, I guess there's been other instances where, like, the three of us have been together, like, at a party or whatever in school, where she has been kind of flirty, but I was just always like, okay, I'm right next to her. So I guess at the last game, she, like, went over to him after the game was over, and she was like, she pulled up this picture on her phone of, like, this girl on her boyfriend's back, like, after one of his soccer games, and she was like, can we recreate this picture? And he was like, no. He was like, no, and I have to leave. But he showed it to me. Like, he found the picture that she was showing him. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you don't take that with someone that's not your boyfriend. Let alone your best friend fucking boyfriend. No. But I'm actually excited to go and confront her. Me and my boyfriend have been together for, like, almost 2 years now. And everything was fine up until recently. They never even really talked unless I was there, up until her and her boyfriend broke up maybe like 4 months ago, and that's when she started going to all his games. Okay, I also just remembered this other thing that happened that, like, I didn't think it was that weird at the time, but she had texted me and was like, hey, can we hang out? And I was like, sorry, I'm with my boyfriend right now, but if you wait until, like, blah blah blah, whatever time, we get to hang out, do whatever. And so she's like, okay. And then she shows up at my house, knocks on my door, and was like, let's go to Target. All three of us can go. I was like, okay. Like, I was kind of fine with it because I was like, whatever. Like, we have nothing to do anyways. We'll just go. She made him drive, but raced me. Literally sprinted to his freaking car and sat in the front seat. And me and him just looked at each other. We're like, okay. Time to go confront her.
Get ready with me as I tell how a girl bullied me because I was new at school. Because I couldn't finish my high school at my own school, I had to go to another school after 3 years. The first few weeks were very hard because everyone already made their friends. I wasn't the only new girl because there also was a girl transferring from another class to my new class, and for some kind of reason my classmates were scared of her. They told me she'd fought with some people the year before I came there and that it was better for me to stay away from her. I did my best to stay away from her, but after a few weeks I sat in front of her during economics class. I always had 2 friends with her who did everything for her, like some kind of minions. That day, all 3 of them sat behind me. During the entire class, they were giggling and gossiping behind my back. At some point, we had to work for ourselves and do our homework. We weren't even working for like 5 minutes and this girl throws her pencil under my chair. So I turned around and she said, pick it up. I said, what? Said, pick it up. I said, you pick it up yourself. Looked at her friends like, she's not obeying me? Never gonna believe what happened next. Let me know if you need a part 2.
Okay, story time, because if I were to have a villain origin story, this would be it. To set the scene, this happened in, I think, the 3rd or 4th grade. It just, like, made me so mad that it haunts me to this day. No, wait, scratch that. This was definitely a middle school story. This definitely happened in middle school. Mind you, I am now 22 years old. I just graduated college, and this still makes my blood boil. It pops into my brain, like, maybe once a month. So you know how in middle school you have homeroom classes? There was this girl in my class that I was kind of family friends with. We were friends and our parents knew each other through us, and then they became friends because she was like one of the only other Korean girls at my school. We'll call this girl Julia. Me and Julia were pretty tight at this point, and I wish nothing but the best for her. Like, I hope she's doing great. This is not her fault. We were also in this class with this girl who was basically just the fucking school bully, okay? Like, that's what she was known for. She was in our class. She was just mean to literally everyone. She also played probably every sport at our, like, feeder high school, so you just didn't mess with this bitch. Like, homegirl was jacked at 12 years old. So this day there was like a presentation in the cafeteria and we had to go to it with our homeroom and sit with our homeroom, and it's like a lunch and learn type of deal. So they gave us lunch, we ate, and like listened to the speaker. Presentation goes great. Me and Julia are sitting together, we're chatting, eating, whatever, having a good time. After the presentation's over, the teachers are like, okay girls, like go to the bathroom together with the girls in your homeroom. We're all in the bathroom, like in line, waiting to use the stalls. So a stall basically opens up for me and Julia at the same time, and we both go to the bathroom in separate stalls, of course. I'm like, fuck me for being a fast pisser. Of course, I was conveniently done first, and I was standing right outside waiting for Julia to get done. And the school bully girl that I mentioned earlier kicks her stall door open, okay? And when it opens, guess who's standing right fucking there? Me. The girl who actually did it giggles and runs away, and she never even sees her. Like, she's nowhere to be found. Julia doesn't even speak to me. Like, she just walks away and thinks it was me. And it wasn't me. Like, I was literally just standing there waiting for her. So I go to the rest of my classes for the day. Like, I'm pissed off, like, all day. And I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm getting blamed for something that I didn't even do. And I'm just sitting there like, God, I cannot wait for school to be over so I can go home and rant to my mom about this. Like, can't wait. I get home, and my mom is sitting there waiting for me with an email from Julia's mom pulled up about my actions. And of course, like, the second I get home, I'm like, Mom, please, that wasn't me. Like, I promise. I'm trying to tell her the full story. I'm like, that wasn't me. Like, please. And I don't know if my mom, like, believed me or her or what. She was, like, just mad that another mom emailed her about me, and that's why I got in trouble. Like, I still got in trouble for nothing. Like, hello? And that girl, like, never cared to hear me out. Like, we just beefed for the rest of middle school because I would always be like, hey, like, can we talk about it? Whatever. And she just beefed with me for the rest of school. And then I ended up going to a different middle school for 8th grade and then a different high school as her entirely. So we just, like, never spoke again. I have no idea where she's at now. And of course, like, I hope all is well with Julia. It's, like, not her fault, whatever. Like, I mean, if somebody opened my stall door when I was pissing, like, I'd probably be pretty upset too. I think for me, it was like the fact that I still got in trouble at home, like, really did it for me. Anyways, Julia, if you're watching this, that was not me. I would literally never do that to anybody, like, actually ever. So, okay, makeup.
Talk bad about me in front of me in Spanish. This isn't even the first time that this has happened, which is really unfortunate. So I guess I'll tell you another example of when this happened. I was basically in the bathroom, you know, in a stall or whatever, and I hear two girls, like, outside, like, by the sinks, talking bad about me and, like, making fun of my TikToks and, like, mocking me and saying all this stuff in Spanish. And then, like, whatever, I, like, go out and I go and wash my hands, and one of the girls was in front of the sinks. So I'm like, hey, like, excuse me, like, I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just like, hey, excuse me, like, can I use the sink? And she's like, yeah, whatever. So, like, whatever, I start washing my hands, and they're still talking about me, but they're doing it in Spanish, like, thinking that I don't understand. And they're like, oh, like, she thinks she's all that just because she has a couple followers on TikTok. Like, is she really gonna, like, just move me out of the way like that? Like, I just asked if I could use the sink, and I was just kind of whatever. I kind of just walked out and, like, let it be. But today I was basically in one of my classes, and this person mentions how I have TikTok, and I really don't say anything about it. I have only spoken Spanish once before in that class, and that's when I was sending a voice message to my mom to try and, like, explain something to her. But other than that, like, I really don't speak Spanish in that class because I have no one to speak Spanish to. So whatever, this kid mentions that I have TikTok, and then this girl, I kid you not, she literally starts slandering me in Spanish right in front of me. Like, she was less than 5 feet away, and she was just, like, saying all sorts of stuff, like, oh, like, how many followers does she even have? Like, are you even a fan of her? Like, just saying, like, a bunch of, like, foul things, and just, like, absolutely, like, trashing on my videos, being like, she's so cringe, like, why would she even post that? That's so awful. And keep in mind, like, I've been really nice to this girl before. I've always been really nice to her. I don't know why she felt the need to just, and I don't know, when stuff like that happens, I just have the strong urge to, like, go up to the person and just be like, hey, like, I really like your outfit, I really like your hair, but in Spanish, just so they know. I just don't get it, because, girl, how are you gonna talk bad about me in my first language? Like, be so serious. And this reminds me of this one time that I was in the hallway, and there's these, like, 3 girls standing by the door, and I really needed to get by, so I was like, hey, like, excuse me, can you guys move? Like, I really need to get to class. Like, I was being really polite about it, as you should be, and they would not move. Like, they were just having a full-on conversation in the middle of the hallway. They would not move, so I just, like, shoved my way past. I didn't even push them or anything. I just kind of wiggled my way past. This girl calls me the B word in Spanish. She literally looks at her friend and she goes, "That bleep just pushed me out the way." I didn't even push you out the way. I said excuse me multiple times, and even then, I wiggled my way past. I found a way through. So I kid you not, I turn around, I look at her, and I literally look at her and I go, "Hablo español." She looks at me and she goes, "I'm so sorry, like, I swear I didn't mean it, like, I'm so sorry." Okay, cool. That's my little story. It was funny, or whatever. I'm gonna go now because I have to go to the gym, but I love you guys and I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye, guys.
Breaking news. The future is here, and it looks bright.
I just remembered the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me. Okay, looking back, it is still, like, so mortifying. What is this hair doing? Get away from me. But I've just learned to live with the fact that I did this. So anyways, I used to take tennis lessons at our country club, you know, back when I was a little tennis baller and everything, and I was at a tennis lesson, okay? And at our club, we have, like, the tennis pros that give lessons. Like, it's not some rinky-dink tennis person, it's an actual professional. So I'm already, like, halfway scared out of my mind because I'm definitely not a professional tennis player, and I'm like, I can't make myself look stupid, but we know I did that anyway. Anyways, the tennis pro that was teaching my lesson, like, alone, it was just me and him. There's no one to, like, bounce strokes off of, like, let me just say that. Anyways, he will tell you like it is, let me tell you. Like, if you're sucking, he's gonna let you know. Okay, so he's, like, feeding me balls over the net, and I'm hitting them back to him, and he goes, "Mia, come here, I think your grip is wrong." So at this point, I'm already halfway embarrassed because I'm like, okay, like, I'm literally here with this really good tennis player taking a lesson, and you're telling me my grip is wrong? Okay, so I walk over there, and he's like, "Give me your racket," and this is where it goes downhill. So I hand my racket to him, and I put my hands on my knees and stick my butt out. He says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I thought you were gonna give me a spanking." I don't know why my brain computed that a random tennis pro would spank me with my own racket. Okay, so after I was like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna spank me," or I was more like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna spank me," he was like, "No, I'm just showing you the right grip." And if I'm being completely honest, I really don't know where that came from because I don't get spankings at home. Like, the last time I got a spanking, I was probably like 3. Like, I can't even remember. Maybe not 3, more like 5. But, like, I have not gotten a spanking in, like, a freaking decade. But now he probably thinks that, like, I go home and the minute I do something wrong, I just get, like, beat with a tennis racket. Like, what? I mean, that is, like, embarrassing and everything. But what makes it worse is the fact that I still go there all the time. And, like, I have to see him all the time at the pool, at the club, everywhere. I mean, that was totally embarrassing, and I'll probably never, ever, ever get over that. But life goes on, and I've seen him since then, and it's been okay. I just haven't brought up the fact that I thought he was gonna whip me, but whatever. Okay, story time is over. Bye.